Hi all, this one I'm going to put on YouTube. I did something wrong with putting it on Google Classroom last time. I don't think it actually went. But this is going to be page 187 in the Big Ideas Math book for 7th grade. We're just going to do questions 1 through 8. I'm going to split it up into 3 different groups. There's 24. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So doing 1 through 8 today. Problems numbers 1, 2, and 3 are the directions were to solve the inequality. Again, this is in your packet, sent home for the COVID-19. And then we're also asked to graph this solution. So question number 1 was 4p plus 7 is greater than or equal to 19. So what I want to do is I'm going to draw a little dotted line here. This is one side of the inequality sign. This is the other. And so I want everything to be moved over to this side, away from the p. I want p left by itself. So somewhere down here, I'm going to have p is greater than or equal to something. So my first step is to subtract the 7 to both sides. I could just say I'm moving 7 over here. When I go across that line, it becomes a negative. And I moved it over there, so it's gone. I've got just a 4p over there. That's not the correct math term saying that you moved it, but that's how I learned it, and I kind of like the feeling of that I'm moving it over there. When I cross that line, it becomes a negative, opposite of what it was. And so 19 minus 7 is 12. And now I've got 4p, and I got to get rid of that 4 that's next to that p, because I want it to be just 4 here. And so I could say I'm going to divide both sides by 4 because it's multiplying by 4 right now. So I'm dividing by 4. That sign stays the same. The symbol, the inequality symbol, stays the same direction. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 4 divided by 4 is 1. And 1p, you just write as p. So that's that part of the answer. Then they had also asked us to graph that. So we are going to graph it. We're going to find the point of 3. It's right there. It's got an inequality sign is greater than or equal to, so it's actually touching 3. So we're going to put a solid dot, and it's the values are greater than 3. So everything that would be greater than, like this would be 4, this would be 5, this would be 2. 2 is less than 3, so everything that is greater than 3 is the values this direction. And there's our graph. So then I'm scooting. Don't forget to scoot. I often forget. So number 2, inequality is 14 is less than the algebraic expression, the negative 6n minus 10. Okay, now I've got everything on the right side of the inequality. So I want all this. I want the 10 to be over here, and I want the 6 to be over there. I'm going to do that by doing the opposite of whatever's happening to it. So I'm going to take 10 and I'm going to add it to both sides. Again, I'm doing this thing that's not really math, but it works the same way. Because it's a negative, I'm going to add it to the other side of the inequality. There's the sides of the inequality right there. So 14 and 10 is 24. The less than sign, negative 6n. Okay, now I have just that negative 6 there. And so I am going to divide by negative 6. Divide by negative 6, because I want just one n here. One n. I can make a 1n. I don't need to put a 1 there. Just n. There's just one n there. The 1 there in front could be there. It doesn't have to be, so I'm just going to write it as n. And 24 divided by 6 is 4. 1 negative gives me a negative 4. I'm going to rewrite this. I divided by a negative sign. So that means that when I did that, I've got to switch the sign, the direction of the inequality. And I forgot to do that. So now I'm going to rewrite that. Negative 4 is now greater than n, but I like to write it that n with the n first. So when I write it like this, the negative 4 is greater than, reading it backwards, negative 4 is greater than n. Make sure the symbols are pointing, the small symbol, the side is pointing towards the end, so I'm going to keep it that way. And then when I graph it, I'm going to find -4 on my graph. If that's 0, -4 is about right there. That would be a +4, and maybe -8 here. And my n values are less than -4, but not equal to. So I can't touch -4. I want to go anything less to get really close to it. Don't actually touch it. So -4.000001 would work, but -4 does not work. Cool. There's number 2. And number 3. We have 5 minutes so far. I don't want this to be longer than 15. So I'm going to have to probably hurry, do less explaining. And number 3, ooh, this is a good one, is 2 plus d is greater than 15. So if I'm going to read this, I'm going to read -3 plus the quantity 2 plus d, or times the quantity 2 plus d, is less than or equal to 15. I've got 2 different things I can do here. I can go, and I think the one that makes the most sense to most people is just multiplying 3 using the distributive property and multiplying 3 to both of those terms. So 3 times 2 is 6. Don't forget that it was a -3, and -3 times d was a +d. Now it's a -3d. And now it looks a lot like the problem that we had up at the top, where I'm going to take and I'm going to try to isolate that d. So first thing I'm going to do is the term that doesn't have a variable, I'm going to move that one, or at least the term that doesn't have a variable I'm trying to isolate. And so I'm going to do the opposite because I'm moving it over here. I'm going to do the opposite. It was a -6. I'm adding 6 now. And so 15 plus 6 is 21. And d, -3, I'm going to divide both sides by -3. When I do that, this was like that, -3, I'm dividing by a negative number. The symbol, the inequality symbol, has to change direction. Okay? So 3 divided by 3 is 1, negative, negative, +1. +1d, 21 divided by 3 is 7, and -7. D is greater than or equal to -7. So we've got d, we'll find -7. And we want everything greater than or equal to, so I'm actually going to have a solid dot and moving it to the right or towards 0, greater than symbol. There. Okay. Question number 4, find the quotient, write the fraction in simplest form. This is, again, is in your packet for section chapter 1, or chapter 5.1, section 5.1. And this is the review refresh. This should be done on Wednesday. Hopefully you did all of this without looking at the video first. And if you did look at some of the video, you kind of fast forwarded it, so you didn't just copy. So remember, just dividing fractions. So we're going to do our keep the first term, flip the second term, and change the sign to multiplication. Changing that there. So I am going to do it with canceling out, and then I'll do it the other way too. 3 goes into 9 3 times, and 3 goes into 3 1 time. 2 goes into 4 twice, and 2 goes into 2 1 time. 1 times 1, and 3 times 2. If I didn't want to do the canceling out first, I could go the long way and make some big numbers here. And do 2 times 3 is 6. 4 times 9 is 36. And that reduces down to 1/6. I think there's more chance of making a mistake when you're reducing down. That's why I like to do the canceling first. But you do as you wish. So both ways, I got the same answer, 1/6. Right, fractions in simplest form. Okay, we did that. Number 5, 10.08 divided by 12. Ooh, so I'm going to have to do some long division. I love long division. That's me being sarcastic. I don't love long division, but I'll do it if I have to. We got a whole number for the divisor out here. So 12 doesn't go into 10. I'm going to put a 0 and put the decimal. 12 goes into 100 then. How many times? It goes into 9, 48, 8. I think it's 8 times. I think 8 times 12 is 96. 8 times 2 is 6. Carry the 1. 8 times 1 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. I'm going to subtract that. 0, carry the 1. 9, carry the 1. Get a 4 and a 0. So 4. And 4 doesn't go into, 12 doesn't go into 4. That's good. I'm going to bring down that 8. 12 goes into 48 4 times. And there's my answer then. Oh, I didn't finish. 12 times 4 is 48. Subtract, I get a remainder of 0. So my answer is 0.84. Another way to do it would be used to use a calculator. That one would be easy on a calculator. The fractions are not as easy on the calculator, and they're not nearly as fun either on a calculator. I think fractions are fun. Number 6 is another fraction division problem. Negative 5 over 6 divided by 3 over 10. Do my keep flip change. It's not going to cancel out. Ooh, they're trying to trick us because this would look like it cancel out. 5 goes into 10, 3 goes into 2. But we got to do our keep flip and change first. We're going to keep the first one the same. Flip the second one. Change the sign. Now 5 and 3 don't go. 6. I could reduce that by a 2. And get a 3 down here. I guess it wouldn't hurt to do it. So let's do that. Reduce both by 2. So I get negative 5 times 5, and that is negative 25. 3 times 3 is 9. And that is reduced as possible. 3 and 3 go into 9, 1, and none of those go into that. So that is reduced. I'm just going to circle that or square that off because you're all set and all reduced. All right, number 7, new directions. Which ratio can be represented by the tape diagram? A, quantity 1, quantity 2. We have, let's look. You have it here, but I don't know if I can do it with my computer. No, the thing I've got to hold my phone up is not wide enough to do this. I could do it like this here. And so which ratio can be represented 3? It looks like 2 to 3 to me. Is there a 2 to 3? I think D is a 2 to 3. So the tape diagram had 2 to 3, and we have 8. So that would be written 2 to 3, or the value would be 2/3. And then we have 8 to 12, and the value would be 8 divided by 12. That reduced 4 goes into both of those. It goes into 8 twice and 12 3 times. So both of those. It would be part D was the answer for that one. And number 8, let's see how much time we got. 14 minutes, 19 seconds. So I have to get this done in a little over 40 seconds. Number 8, open-ended. Complete the ratio table using multiple operations. Oh, so we just have to, are the ratios in the table multiple operations? Oh, so we got to use addition, we got to use subtraction, and are they all the same? I think hopefully we know the answer. So if I have X here, Y here, and I start out with 4 and 10, If I use a multiplication and get maybe multiply by 2, I'd get 8 over 20. But if I took this and I just added 3 and do plus 3 here, I would have 7 and 13. That is not a ratio. It has to be a multiplication. And so if I did division, it would be, I could take it and I could divide by 2. If I could take this and divide by 2 and take this, go here and divide by 2 and get 2 over 5, that would be, but the adding 3 is not. That's what they're trying to get us to see there. That is my time for the last. Oh, I went over a full minute. My apologies. I hope you got something out of this.